Kevin Seeker raises a hand on Wendy Williams. It shows up that Kevin Seeker is arranging to cause more inconvenience in Wendy's life. This man is said to be moving towards threatening activities in arrange to stash Wendy's life protections and pay a portion of his developing obligations. Sources propose that he plans to hurt his ex-wife at a time when she is occupied by her modern ventures and has not completely recuperated, however. Kevin's sole center is on how he can blackmail more cash from Wendy Williams, and he is prepared to go after her life protections to attain this. Welcome back to Newsslant, where we keep our eyes on the foremost outrageous occasions in a peer trade and always bring you the most sultry upgrades. Kevin Seeker can be formally delegated as the foremost perilous individual of the year. Word on the road is that he doesn't have any other thoughts to blackmail more cash from Wendy Williams and needs to go after her life protections, knowing that Wendy's condition is still delicate and a backslide is still conceivable. Since Wendy is actively working on modern programs, Kevin accepts he can play his unpleasant plot out without anybody noticing. Kevin Seeker has as of now demonstrated how frantic he is for cash ever since his provision from Wendy Williams was ended. He didn't think of sparing a single dime for a blustery day and as it were buried himself over his ears in obligation with the dispossession coming. With his lawyers suggesting he halt chasing the divorce settlement checks, he recalled that as it were conceivable source to urge speedy cash, which is Wendy Williams' life insurance. Sources uncover that Kevin is prepared for the fight and subtly trusts to play out his small conspire of hurting Wendy without anybody suspecting him. Clearly, Wendy's cash doesn't let this man rest peacefully at night, and since he misplaced all trust to urge some more bucks from his ex-wife in any legal way, he can move to extraordinary measures. According to the modern shirt court record gotten by the media, Williams is presently being constrained to preserve a $1 million arrangement of life protections on her life to secure her husband's receipt of the net after-tax severance installments. Williams is additionally being constrained to form a life protection arrangement on herself so that in the case that she all of a sudden kicks the bucket and the appearance has got to come to a stop, Seeker can proceed getting paid. This hole isn't as tremendous as Kevin needs, but it's still way better than he had gotten for the final year from Wendy. This life protection was made to secure Kevin's provision checks, and since he doesn't get them any longer, he believes he is entitled to that million. It as it were demonstrates how awful Kevin's money-related circumstance is, and how direly he needs cash to pay his bills. It's incredible to think what this man is able of and how really he may feel around Wendy. In my conclusion, rather than debilitating her, he ought to be asking the ruler of conversation for absolution. But since Wendy is as well actively working on her ventures and doesn't indeed care approximately his presence any longer, it appears that Kevin is prepared to require extraordinary measures to urge what he wants. Kevin Seeker, the ex-husband of Wendy Williams, is purportedly looking for exact retribution for open mortification. Everybody sees him as a clown, as Wendy had prior confessed in her meeting that she was considering almost separating within the year of their marriage. But she remained with Kevin and indeed put up with his treachery since of their child. The opportunity to at long last take off from Kevin with nothing displayed itself as it were numerous decades afterward, and by that time, Wendy was injured both sincerely and physically by Kevin's consistent cheating, which he didn't indeed stow away from her. As Wendy said, "I went into the conveyance room knowing in my intellect I'm arranging my separate." Kevin was a serial cheater. He cheated when she dated him and indeed when she hitched him. I do not know how he rested at night coming back to his family house after going by his fancy woman, but it appears like after a long time, Kevin misplaced all disgrace and halted being cautious at all. He was essentially living the life of a mooch whereas his spouse was working on TV. He was working difficult misusing her millions on another woman. So, when he was suddenly served with separate papers, he had nothing in his pockets to maintain himself and the extravagant way of life he had with Wendy. Clearly, he possesses commerce may be a disappointment, and his special lady Serena doesn't truly offer assistance by offering her flapjack blend for $10 per bundle. These two truly thought that there would be a line of individuals prepared to work with them, but no one needs to back the leeches that demolished Wendy Williams' health. But no, their common pay isn't sufficient to form closes meetings. As Kevin said in his video attempting to snap tears from the open, the truth that I am incapable to maintain my life and pay my bills in a range is an extraordinary crisis to me. I cannot pay my bills and support my day-to-day living. Well, we all know about his day-to-day living costs, architect dress, favor eateries, and sports cars, whereas being hitched to Wendy and showering within the beams of her victory. He got utilized to living like a ruler so much that he couldn't let this way of life go indeed after they separated. But apparently, his claim of humble pay was nothing compared to Wendy's month-to-month checks, since he began to caution everybody almost his hardships right after the primary check didn't come. I figure that in the case of a few individuals such circumstances work as a wake-up call. Kevin didn't indeed think of at long last turning into a man and the supplier for his modern family. He was really willing to continue his extravagant way of life with Serena with Wendy's cash. But since all his endeavors fizzled and indeed the judge told him no, Kevin has the as it were choice cleared out, which is to demolish Wendy, and I cruel it truly. Fans are infuriated by his lacking behavior and do not get it why everybody remains impartial approximately what's going on and permits Kevin to run around with his threats. That's it for today's video. Make beyond doubt subscribe to our channel for more recordings like this.